Welcome to my next post-draft rebuild or new look rebuild, whatever you want to call it. Today I am using the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and my rules are pretty simple. I have 3 seasons to win a Super Bowl, otherwise the rebuild is a failure. The goal of this rebuild is to use Baker Mayfield to rebuild Tampa Bay to get back to a Super Bowl. I won't be drafting a quarterback in this rebuild, so if you're here to see that, I apologize. I am a huge Baker Mayfield fan because I am a fan of Oklahoma, and obviously he was at Oklahoma for like 4 seasons. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time, probably my favorite quarterback in Sooners history, but we're going to use him. Are we going to be mediocre? Probably. Are we going to try anyway? Absolutely. But here is the offense we will be working with in Season 1. We have Mike Evans, a 90 overall superstar X Factor. Chris Godwin, a 90 overall superstar depth trait. We also have Russell Gage, who is a star depth trait in the slot there. We have Rachaad White at running back. They drafted Cody Mock in the first round. I have no idea if I'm saying his name right, but I did make him a 72 overall and a star depth trait. We also have Cade Otton at tight end, who should develop pretty nicely, I'm hoping. And then we definitely need a new left tackle. I will probably sign one before the season actually starts. For the defensive side of the ball, I have made some major changes over here if you can't tell. They were a 3-4, I changed them to a 4-3 because that works a little bit better in simulation. I moved Gaines over to right end so we can actually use first round pick Kalijah Kancey. I don't know if I'm saying his name right either, but he is a star depth trait. And I moved Devin White over to outside linebacker because I moved Shaq Barrett down to defensive end so he can actually, rush the quarterback in this scheme. Unless I'm mistaken, the only other player besides Baker Mayfield they brought in free agency that is projected to start is safety Ryan Neal. They took him from Seattle, so we'll obviously use him for at least the first season. We're going to sign the highest rated left tackle in free agency right now, and that is going to be Taylor Lewan. He will be heading to Tampa Bay. To get a little more help at corner, I've probably signed this guy in my last few rebuilds, but it's worked out pretty well most of the time, so we're going to bring in Marcus Peters. And a player I know I have not signed in any of these new look rebuilds, I'm going to bring in running back Ezekiel Elliott on a 1-year contract. Yes, we have Rachaad White, but I think Elliott will help out this offense a lot. I have now simulated through the preseason here, and as we start the regular season, Taylor Lewan is actually injured. He will miss the first 4 weeks, so I may need to go sign another left tackle. So we're going to bring in left tackle Eric Fisher. Now, if he was only going to be missing 1 game, I wouldn't be too concerned about that, but missing the first 4 games of the season can be pretty big. So here's what the offense will look like now going into Season 1 of this rebuild. Obviously, the big addition on offense is Ezekiel Elliott. On defense, the only player I signed is defensive back Marcus Peters, just to try to help out our secondary a little bit. The main reason I did that is because Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis are really highly rated, but past that they have no depth, so these 3 are going to need to play a lot of the time, and then we'll try to get some more depth in free agency in the offseason. I really don't know what my expectations are in Season 1 for this rebuild. The division is set to be pretty bad. Obviously, the Falcons will most likely be using Desmond Ridder. The Panthers will be using a rookie quarterback in Bryce Young, and then the Saints are using Derek Carr. That's probably the best quarterback in the division right now, so I kind of expect the Saints to win the division, but the simulation tends to hate the Saints a lot of the times, so I don't really know exactly how that's going to go, but hopefully we can at least get into the playoffs here in Season 1. Well, I would definitely say we did pretty good. We go 14-3. We're the 1 seed because we don't have a game here in the wildcard round. We finish as the 4th offense in points per game and the 4th defense in points per game. Yeah, Baker Mayfield had a pretty decent career resurgence here. 5,300 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Running the ball, Ezekiel Elliott goes for 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. It looks like Keshawn Vaughn got 7, Rachaad White ran in for 4, and then receiving Mike Evans 100 catches, 1,600 yards, and 13 touchdowns. Chris Godwin 78 for 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. Cade Otton 80 for 883 and 10 touchdowns. He had a fantastic rookie season, or technically second year. And then in tackles, Lavonte David led the team in tackles with 137. Tackles for loss goes to Devin White and Vita Vea. Sacks goes to Vita Vea with 10. Shaq Barrett got 7. Devin White got 6. Interceptions, Lavonte David ended up with 6 picks on the year. Baker Mayfield actually ends up leading the league in passing yards. What about touchdowns? That's going to go to Patrick Mahomes with 48. Baker Mayfield was second. And interceptions goes to Dak Prescott, who threw 20 of them. Running the ball, Derrick Henry goes for 1,600 yards, which leads the league. And in touchdowns, Saquon Barkley got 15. Receiving, Cooper Kupp always puts up ridiculous numbers. He leads the league in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. After the first round of the playoffs, where apparently the Commanders were the 2 seed on the NFC side, They lost to Philadelphia, so we get to take on the 7-seed Eagles in the divisional round. We will jump into this game. We are up by 7 with 1:42 to go, and Philadelphia has the ball. Hurts back in shotgun from the 25-yard line. We'll take the snap and look to pass. He goes over the middle and finds Devontae Smith for the first down to the 38. The clock is still running. They only have 1 timeout remaining. Jalen takes the snap again, drops back to pass, and now he throws on the run downfield. That will be tipped in the air and almost caught. That probably should have been picked off. It leads to a 2nd and 10 from the 38-yard line with 1:18 to play. Hurts back in shotgun. I believe DeAndre Swift is in at running back. He takes the snap and throws to the outside. That is caught by A.J. Brown for the first down. A minute to play in the game. They are not burning a timeout just yet. Jalen takes the snap. We'll go over the middle. That is caught by Goddard for another first down. This one into Tampa Bay territory. So now 1st and 10 with 43 seconds to go. Jalen takes the snap and will throw downfield again. And that's once again caught by Goddard for another first down. 25 seconds to go in the game. Jalen out of shotgun will look to pass. He goes over the middle. That is caught and he's brought down to the 18. They would burn their first time out there. So now 2nd and 6 with 20 seconds left to play. Hurts takes the snap, stands in the pocket, dumps it underneath. That's caught by DeAndre Swift, and he will get to the marker, but the clock will continue to run. 3 seconds to play. They have 1 more play. Jalen takes the snap, goes over the middle. That is caught, and that is the end of the game. In the next Madden, EA really needs to improve AI. That was just a dumb decision by Hurts there at the end of the game to throw it underneath on the final play of a playoff game, but it's whatever. We win the game. We advance to the NFC Championship. Baker Mayfield threw for 357 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts threw for 2 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield did get intercepted once, though. Running the ball, Ezekiel Elliott ran for 75 yards. Rashad White got a touchdown, and Jalen Hurts ran in for 1. Receiving, Russell Gage 7 for 122. Dallas Goedert 10 for 112 and a score. A.J. Brown 3 for 87 and a score. And Chris Godwin caught a touchdown. Mike Evans caught 2. In the AFC Championship, you have the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Buffalo Bills. And in the NFC Championship, we have an NFC South rivalry between Tampa Bay and Carolina. We will jump into this game as well. We are down by 12 with all 3 timeouts. Baker Mayfield out of shotgun will lob it down the sideline. That'll be incomplete. It is 2nd and 10 from the 16. We have 1:31 to play in all 3 timeouts. Trying to pull off a miracle here. Baker comes out in a 5-wide set. He'll take the snap and look to pass. Standing in the pocket now, goes over the middle. That is caught by Chris Godwin, who will get the first down to the 6-yard line. We cannot afford to burn a timeout, really. Baker in shotgun. Will take the snap and look to pass. He goes to the end zone, and that is incomplete. Had a chance to be picked off. That leads to 2nd and goal with 1:08 to play. Baker lines up under center. I imagine that's Ezekiel Elliott at running back, but he'll drop back to pass downfield. That is caught inside the 5. Please don't burn a timeout. They won't. Under a minute to play. Baker in shotgun will take the snap. Look to pass again. And he throws to the end zone. That is caught. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. But now we need to get the ball back. And it looks like we're lining up for an onside kick to try that. The kick is away. It'll be recovered by the Panthers. And he's brought down immediately. Bryce Young will line up under center. Like I said, we have all 3 timeouts. We can still get the ball back. They give it to the running back to the outside. And on the first play, they're going to get a huge gain and the first down. So in season 1, we get so close to going to the Super Bowl. We lose by 5. I cannot believe the defense fell apart that bad on that first play of the drive. We needed to get the ball back, and they allow a huge run from Miles Sanders. So we look to move on to the offseason and try to get better. Baker Mayfield went 31 for 48 for 411 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Bryce Young goes 24 for 35 and 6 touchdowns. Absolutely insane. Running the ball, Ezekiel Elliott did run in for 3 touchdowns, and then receiving, Mike Evans 15 for 203. Terrence Marshall got a touchdown, Miles Sanders caught 2, Adam Thielen caught 2, and DJ Chark caught 1. Bryce Young leads the Panthers to a Super Bowl in his rookie season, 17-14 over Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. The NFL MVP is Baker Mayfield, which is good to see. Coach of the Year is Matt Rule. Offensive Player of the Year is Cooper Kupp. Defensive Player of the Year is Max Crosby. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Bryce Young, and Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Trayvon Walker. I've said this before in other new look rebuilds, I can't really do anything about last year's rookies winning Rookie of the Year in Madden 23. We're actually going to look to bring back Ezekiel Elliott. He's an 88 overall, still only 28 years old, wants a 4-year deal. We will offer that, and he is not interested in signing, even though he had interest in coming back. And I'm not going to offer a contract to anyone else to come back. The only other player that I would kind of want is Marcus Peters, but he has no re-sign interest, so I know there's really no shot in getting him to return, and everyone else is pretty low rated. As we head into free agency, obviously Baker Mayfield now a 79 overall currently. It looks like he has a temporary boost though. I'm surprised that after the season he had in winning MVP, he does not go to a superstar depth trait, but I'm not going to change it because that's what Madden has decided apparently. Mike Evans is a 93 overall now. Chris Godwin lost his superstar depth trait, but still a 91 overall. We may look at a new slot receiver. Russell Gage did play pretty well last season though. Cade Otton played pretty well and got boosted up to a star depth trait. On defense, I really don't see a lot of positions to upgrade here. Maybe at corner, we need another 1 or 2 people. And then at safety, Ryan Neal still 76 overall. If someone's like far better in free agency, I'll look there. But as of right now, I'm actually pretty happy with our defense. I'm only offering contracts to 3 players here in free agency, and 2 of them were on the team last season. Running back Ezekiel Elliott, defensive back Marcus Peters, and obviously wide receiver Michael Gallup is here. He's a scheme fit, 91 speed. I think he could be a really nice slot receiver. Let's see if any of these guys are going to sign here in the first stage, and they have all signed with us. If you've never seen any of my rebuilds before, the way I do the draft is I only pick the first 3 rounds and then I let the computer take over from there. Mainly because I'm terrible at drafting in the late rounds and it feels like a lot of luck anyway, so we will just pick in the first 3 rounds here, and then rounds 5 and then the 2 7th round picks will be picked by the computer. In the final mock draft, we are mock defensive back Chad Burrow. I don't really know if I'm going to go there with that pick. I really need a new left tackle. Our left tackle right now is not good at all, so if we can get a decent one here in the first round, that's definitely the plan. I always like to see where the first few picks go. With the number 1 pick, the Arizona Cardinals are going to take defensive end Dominique McClain out of Missouri. With the number 2 pick, the Green Bay Packers are going to take quarterback Mac Morey out of Jackson State. And with the 3rd pick, the Steelers are going to take defensive end Sherrod Terry out of Penn State. With our first round pick, I'm actually going to take this trade with Arizona and fall back to the beginning of the 2nd round and pick up a 3rd round pick for next season. We'll see who the Cardinals have traded up to take though. We'll go ahead and just jump right to our pick. With pick 30, the Cardinals traded up to take defensive back Isaiah Winters out of USC. With pick 31, the Chiefs are going to take outside linebacker Josh Fernandez out of USF. And with pick 32 at the end of the first round, the Carolina Panthers have selected wide receiver Larry Rogers out of Ohio State. And the reason I was fine with falling back is I wanted left tackle Trevor Nickerson. He had a projection of rounds 2 to 3, so I knew no one was going to take him in the first round. But he has A, awareness, B, pass block, B, run block. He has pretty good strength. He was the 3rd strongest left tackle at the pro days. Let's go ahead and take left tackle Trevor Nickerson, and he is a hidden depth trade. I'm going to trade our own 2nd round pick away though. I'm going to trade it to LA and pick up a 2nd and a 4th rounder for next season. At the end of the 3rd round, I'm going to take defensive back Denario Garrard out of Penn State. He has B catching, C man coverage, D zone coverage, which isn't great, but he's a really fast corner, and he has B to D awareness. I'm going to hope for like a C awareness, but he does also have C play rec. This is probably a bad pick. I'm not great at drafting in this game, but let's take him anyway, and he is a normal depth trade. It was not a great draft class, but I'm not going to be upset with it because we got a 74 overall left tackle, a 69 overall corner, and then the computer took a 65 overall middle linebacker, a 66 overall quarterback, and a 66 overall right end. In case you were wondering, the best player in the draft was a right outside linebacker that the Chargers took with the 14th pick of the first round. I am really happy with how the offense looks going into season 2 right now. Baker Mayfield's a 76 overall. We got a brand new left tackle to keep him standing. Cade Otton is now a star depth trait. We still have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and we've also added Michael Gallup. And then if one of those gets injured, Russell Gage is still a pretty solid receiver to fill in. On defense, we brought back Marcus Peters, who will apparently be the cornerback 2 this season because Jamel Dean is now a higher rating. We still have Ryan Neal. I did not see a better strong safety in free agency or the draft, so we're just going to continue rolling with him. I'm probably going to jinx this season by saying it, but last season we made it to the NFC Championship, so I feel like the only logical expectation for this season is to get to the Super Bowl and hopefully pull off a win here in season 2, so in season 3 I can kind of just do whatever I want because the rebuild will already be a success. Well, we still win the division, we get back to the playoffs, the defending Super Bowl champion Carolina Panthers go 5-12 and completely miss the playoffs obviously. We end up with the number 12 offense this season and the number 26 defense. Well, that's obviously not good. Offensive points per game, we finished 8th. Defensive points per game, we finished 19th. Baker Mayfield still put up some pretty solid numbers, but definitely took a step back from last season. 4,700 yards, 36 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, Running the ball, Elliott ran for 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns. Rachaad White ran for 9, in case you missed that. Chris Godwin, 96 catches, 1,100 yards and 9 scores. Mike Evans, 87, 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. Michael Gallup got 7 touchdowns. Cade Otton took a major step back and only caught 4 touchdowns this season. On defense, Levante David led the team in tackles with 133. Sacks goes to Shaq Barrett with 13.5, and Devin White got 11. Interceptions, Marcus Peters led the team with 4. This season, Josh Allen led the league in passing yards with 5,300. The rookie quarterback in Green Bay apparently threw for 5,000 yards as well. Touchdowns goes to a rookie quarterback for the Giants who threw 46 of them. Interceptions goes to Jared Goff who threw 19. Running the ball, once again, Derrick Henry for yards. And touchdowns goes to Isaiah Pacheco with 27 touchdowns. Okay, the Chiefs' offense is a bit broken, and still so is Cooper Kupp. 131 receptions, 2,200 yards, and 21 touchdowns are all going to lead the league again. We get into the playoffs as the 4 seed here, so we get to take on the 5 seed New York Giants. This season will end in the wildcard round. We lose 38-24. So we get one more season to try to win a Super Bowl with Baker Mayfield, otherwise the rebuild is a failure. The Giants rookie quarterback Ben Scott goes 20 for 33, 309 yards and 4 touchdowns. Baker Mayfield goes for 270 and a touchdown. Running the ball, Ezekiel Elliott did find the end zone. Saquon Barkley ran for 131 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, Sterling Shepard, a former Oklahoma Sooner, 9 for 136 and 3 touchdowns. That's insane. Chris Godwin, 8 for 136 and a touchdown, and then Colin Johnson got a touchdown. For the second straight year, a rookie quarterback makes it to the Super Bowl, but this time they do not get the win. The Bills get their first ever Super Bowl, 34-28. The NFL MVP is Josh Allen, along with the Super Bowl MVP being Josh Allen. Coach of the Year is Zach Taylor. Offensive Player of the Year is Cooper Kupp. Defensive Player of the Year is Aaron Donald. Offensive Rookie of the Year is Ben Scott. And Defensive Rookie of the Year is a linebacker for the Bears. The first player we're going to try to bring back is free safety Antoine Winfield. He's an 89 overall, star depth trait. He does have a lot of interest in coming back. Let's see if we can get him back, and he is going to be testing free agency. What about now outside linebacker Devin White? Can we get him back? He has a lot of interest in coming back as well, and he is going to be re-signing, thankfully. I forgot to change all the rookies to a 4-year contract, so we don't get Cody Mock back. Hopefully we can get him back in free agency, but we also need to try to re-sign Baker Mayfield. So let's see if we can get him back. He wants a 4-year deal. Whatever, we'll offer that contract, and he is glad to be coming back. The only player that I am going to willingly let walk is wide receiver Mike Evans because he has no re-sign interest. We may try to bring him back in free agency. We'll see what else is available, but right now we only have $20 million in cap space, and I need to really try to bring back Antoine Winfield and Cody Mock. Well, I now have pretty much no cap space left, but we're trying to bring back Antoine Winfield and Cody Mock. It could be Cody Mao. I'm not 100% sure how to say his name. I said that in the beginning of the video. Let's see if we can bring these guys back. Winfield is a big risk because he also has a ton of interest in the Chiefs, and we managed to bring back both of them, thankfully, but now we have no cap space, so this will be the only free agents I can really bring in. Let's see where the first few picks of the draft go here. Obviously, we have some positions of need. The main one to me is probably wide receiver. We lost Mike Evans. I believe Chris Godwin can be a wide receiver 1. Michael Gallup is right now our wide receiver 2. And then Russell Gage is back as our wide receiver 3. We'll see if there's anyone available in the draft. But for now, let's just see where the Commanders go with pick number 1. They're going to take a defensive back out of Auburn. With pick 2, the Raiders are going to take a quarterback out of Duke. And with pick 3, the Ravens take a defensive end out of Michigan State. With pick 23 here in the first round, I'm going to take wide receiver Tremaine Black out of Georgia. He has a projection of rounds 1 to 2. B catching, B deep route, one of the fastest receivers in the class. It says he has elite level speed. We're going to take him, and he will be a hidden depth trait with 96 speed. We actually have back-to-back picks right now here in the second round because pick 24 belongs to the Rams, which we got in the last draft. But I'm going to use pick 23 in the second round to take safety Terrence Ragland out of Louisville. B-man coverage, C tackle, C zone coverage, but does have B awareness, B man coverage, and B play rec. I think I already said the man coverage part. He's also the fastest safety in the class. We're going to take Ragland here, and he comes in as a normal depth trait. I really did not expect to see that. So I slightly screwed up with the 24th pick. I accidentally, out of habit, clicked advance the next user pick, so the computer made that pick. We'll see who they took here in a minute, but for now in the third round, I'm going to take defensive back Antonio Clifford out of Kansas State, who will have a hidden depth trait. And with the 23rd pick here in the third round, I'm going to take defensive end Dylan Day out of Miami, and he will come in with a normal dev trait. I honestly can't believe I clicked right past pick 24 after having just said we have back-to-back picks. That's the way my brain works sometimes though. We ended up with a 76 overall receiver in the first round, a 73 overall safety in the second, and then the other second round pick that the computer got to do was a 65 overall running back. Not exactly good. Then we got a 73 overall corner and a 68 overall right end, a 68 overall outside linebacker, a 70 overall wide receiver, a 64 left guard, a 65 right guard, and a 69 wide receiver. The best player in the draft was the corner that the Commanders took with the number 1 pick. Cliff Mentor is an 80 overall already. I probably just massively overpaid to get a defensive end, but we have traded Russell Gage and 2 first-round picks to the Commanders for defensive end Montez Sweat. There are a couple reasons I did that trade. One, so Tremaine Black can actually get some playing time, because the way Madden simulates things, if they're not in the top 3 receivers, they really won't get to see any playing time during simulation, which sucks, but here's your final starting offense. The other reason I did it is to get another pass rusher on the team. Montez Sweat is a scheme fit at defensive end. Gaines did fine the first couple seasons, but I wanted a bit more pressure on the quarterback, so hopefully our defense can get that final step now. Before I simulate into the final season, we are an 83 overall offense and 83 overall defense, so we are an 83 overall team. The expectation for this season is pretty obvious. We need to win a Super Bowl, otherwise the rebuild is a failure. Let's take a look at stats before we see how we did this season. Baker Mayfield throws for 4,700 yards, 34 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. On the ground, Ezekiel Elliott goes for 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. Receiving, Chris Godwin 113, 1,500 yards and 10 scores. Tremaine Black 70 for 9, 40 and 8 touchdowns. Cade Otton got 9 touchdowns. And then over on defense, Levante David led the team in tackles, not a shock at this point. Sacks, Montez Sweat did lead the team with 9.5. Interceptions, Levante David got 4. Josh Allen ends up leading the league in passing yards with 5,300. In touchdowns, that goes to CJ Stroud in Philadelphia, who threw 56 this season. Interceptions, Joe Burrow led the league with 22. Running the ball, Jonathan Taylor, 1,700 yards. Touchdowns goes to Aaron Jones with 20. And receiving, is it going to be Cooper Kupp for 3 years in a row? No, it is not. DeAndre Hopkins with 120. Yards does go to Cooper Kupp. And touchdowns goes to Devontae Adams with 21. But sadly, this season, we are apparently the worst team we have had so far. We finished 23rd in offensive points per game, 13th in defensive points per game. We finished 6-11 and failed to even make the playoffs. So we got progressively worse as the rebuild went on. We started 14-3, then went 11-6, and now I've gone 6-11. Obviously, the Baker Mayfield experiment is not working, but I just gave him a 4-year contract, so they would probably try to stick with him for another year or two and then try to get out of the contract if it still hadn't turned it around. But this rebuild will go down as a failure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you next time.